So, why did I decide to use GLP1s? Considering I have gone through physical transformations several times myself, I have put on muscle, I have lost fat, and I've worked with thousands of other people as a personal trainer, as a strength and conditioning coach, and as an osteopath, go through lots of physical transformations as well. Why did I get to the state where I was like, you know what, actually this is going to be a great idea for me to do this? Well, it comes down to responsibility. My definition of a grown-up, my definition of a man, is someone who takes responsibility for other people. So I'm a father of two, I'm a husband to the best woman in the world, and I have several businesses. And over time, those things get more important, and my own personal well-being just kind of moved to the bottom of the list. COVID came along, eating, drinking, worrying about the state of the universe, all that kind of stuff. And guess what? I got a little bit tubby. Hopefully that sounds a little bit familiar. So I kind of tightened things up, and guess what? I pretty much stayed the same. So I was doing good amounts of exercise, I was eating pretty well, but things weren't really changing. So I was like, right, I need to do something about this. And it was probably actually when I started doing some bloods and having a look at some of my biomarkers, insulin sensitivity, cholesterol, that I was thinking, hang on a second, I'm not actually going to be here for my family in a healthy way, or indeed I might not be here at all if I continue to do this. Now I know we're supposed to go on a health journey to look after ourselves and all of that kind of stuff, but that isn't me. The reason I did this was I thought I'm not going to be there for the people that I love the most. So I was like, okay, I really need to get on and do something about this. Now look, pride, vanity, ego, all of those things, absolutely, they're part of what we are, what we do. But we need to find this big drive. We need to find the big why. We need to find something which does actually keep us going there, going back to the things that we need to do and being consistent with those good choices. And that's where I came from. Now, what's the difference between me and perhaps other people that don't have tens of thousands of hours of working with other people in this area? What I realize is it is not about the information. It's about understanding what's going to make you keep turning up again and again. So I alluded to the drive for me, which is to look after my family. Yes, there's ego. Yes, there's all kinds of other things in there as well. Yes, it's nice feeling good about yourself, but really it's the reason I'm going to keep doing this is because I want to look after my family. So that's one thing. There's two other things. The second thing is putting the right tools in place. So things that actually do something. There's so much noise about, oh, do a bit of this or do a bit of that, that we get really hung up on doing all these little extra bits and we don't put the big things in place first. And then that third thing is we need to make sure that our drive and the things that we put in place, those procedures, are long lasting and we make it more likely to happen long term. So that first thing, desire, what do I mean by that? You need to find the why that doesn't fade, the thing which will make you do this again and again. That needs to just bed in with who you are, and that's the thing which will keep you going on the cold, wet Tuesday morning when you don't want to be getting up to do stuff, on the long nights where I actually think there's plenty of other things I should be doing. Let's reach for a pizza, let's reach for a beer, whatever it is. You need to find that thing and just absolutely say, this is the reason why I'm getting out of bed. This is the reason why I'm doing all of this today. What do I mean by the second thing about tools to have in place? We need to have actions which are significant and measurable. So by significant, I mean they need to actually do something. And that's always going to be nutrition and it's always going to be lifting. Like that's where we're going to be with that one. And it has to be measurable. You have to see when I do this, this is the response that I get. And this is obviously from the sense of view that we need to be doing something that works. That's really important. But also from an emotional point of view, we need to say when I put this amount of effort in, this is the amount of results that I get. And that's one of the biggest problems that people don't think about. If they haven't been through this journey again and again and again, what they'll think is, okay, I've done my hour of walking a day, therefore I should just lose thousands of kilos of body fat. It's hilarious when you look at those adverts that say, oh, how many hours of walking should I do a week in order to lose body fat? That's a lie. Like, you'll do some work and you'll get some kind of response, but it's not a clear cut, do this many hours of walking, get this amount of results. That isn't how it works. But this does take us to the next thing. The third thing that we need is we need the drive and the tools to be repeatable. So it doesn't matter how excited you are at the beginning, it matters how excited you are all the way through. It doesn't matter if you can go out and do burpees every day for an hour at the start. You need something that you're going to be able to do continuously. So it's very boring, but it's really, really true. We need to get that drive right, we need to get those tools right, and we need to make sure they are repeatable. What lessons can you learn from the little journey that I've been on? Well, there's 8 things. 8, there you go. 8 things that I think are really important. Now, the first thing that we have to look at is your body ready to use fat as an energy source? Should be, right? That's how the body works. And is it able to use fat as an energy source when you have less nutrients coming in, less calories coming in? Now, this seems to be like an obvious thing, like that's how the body works. Thermodynamics, bro, that's just what happens. Well, actually, the body has lots of different set points. I'll go into this in a huge, great long video, I'm sure, at some point. Lots of set points which keep us in homeostasis. The body really wants to stay where it is, and actually, we have to make sure that when we're doing our whatever interventions we're doing, the body feels nourished, it feels safe, and it says, yeah, actually, I don't mind using fat as an energy source, and actually I prefer not to use muscle as an energy source, let's just use fat. So that's a really tough thing to do, and people just don't talk about that enough. So that's number 1. Number 2, it's going to be a high protein intake, and well, specifically high protein, and also kind of high nourished intake. We have to make sure that we're getting the right good stuff into the body to make sure that it's able to look after itself and to feel nourished. More of that later. The third thing that we need is resistance training. So we need resistance training to short-term burn more calories while you're doing the resistance training, and medium-term to maintain your muscle mass so that you're able to burn those calories over a longer period of time. So what you burn in a day when you're not training is higher because you've got a bigger engine essentially that needs more fuel. And then over the long term to make sure that that basal metabolic rate is staying high or as high as possible over a long period of time. You want to make sure that as your fat levels are going down and your size is going down, your basal metabolic rate, which is obviously an easy thing for me to say, the basal metabolic rate is staying as high as possible for as long as possible. What was the fourth thing? Well, the fourth thing was using GLP1s. They are extremely effective. They were developed, of course, to help people with diabetes and blood sugar control, but we found that there was this incredible reduction in appetite for the vast majority of people. And that's what I found to be the case for myself. They are super effective, super effective for that appetite reduction. So that is a double-edged sword. It's great because actually what I found was that it reduced the amount of food noise. So when I was choosing what I was going to eat, I was choosing, actually, this is what's going to nourish me. This is what's going to help me be healthy for today and for tomorrow. And there was much less, oh, I fancy having a bit of this or I fancy having a bit of that. It was all like a very deliberate choice. I found that absolutely wonderful. Number 5 is tracking things. So your notebook is going to be the thing that really helps you because it doesn't matter what works for everyone else, it matters what works for you. So tracking what you're putting in your mouth, the exercise that you're doing, and then the results that you're having, measuring what's happening with the scales, measuring what's happening with the tape measure, measure what's happening with your strength, with your energy levels. Those are so important because actually it matters to you, how you are feeling now. And you know what? How you are in week 2, how you are in week 7, how you are in month 2, how you are in month 7, they're going to be different. And you have to find out the right thing that works for you. And getting this very clear feedback of what works for you at this time, that is the best thing that you can do. If you had the best trainer in the world, that's what they'd be doing. They'd be motivating you and they'd be tracking you and using those bits of data to say, this is where we need to be going. Number 6. So with number 6, what we need to do is set expectations. Probably the biggest disappointment that I have with how people are being told to use GLP-1s, and actually this is what I've seen over 30 years as well with people trying to diet, is people set the worst expectations and say, lose 10 pounds, do this, do that, whatever. And then they don't say, okay, how are you going to do it? They don't say how you're going to feel when you do it. They're not going to say how do you transition out of that back to kind of normal eating. They don't say how do you have good maintenance eating. You have to be aware of that. You have to say, okay, this is how it's going to feel when I start. This is how it's going to feel when I'm in there, and this is how it's going to feel, and this is what I'm going to have to do when I'm coming out of it. Those three different stages are vitally important, and if you don't set those expectations, you will get disappointed, you will get disheartened, and you will quit and things won't work well. So let's set that right at the start. Number 7 is setting systems in place. So I'm hilariously badly organized. What I have to do is set things in place so that things become easy. Habit just makes things happen. And if there's one thing that you can take from this, which you can apply to everything else in your life, is get that habit set up, and then you don't have to use your will, you don't have to use your energy to make that thing go further. So what most successful people have when they're changing how they eat is they probably only eat about 6 or 7 things. You know, it's going to be chicken, it's going to be white fish, it's going to be lean cuts of meat, it's going to be good carb sources, and it's going to be a butt ton of vegetables. And that's just how it's going to be, I'm afraid. So you have to make sure that you have those things in place, and then you know when you're going to eat them and how you're going to eat them. You need to know that if you're going out for lunch or dinner, where you're going to get your food from. You need to know that if you're feeling tired, where you're going to get your food from. Is it in the freezer already? Do you just take it out and reheat it? Do you have some quick and easy things that you can do instead? Having those things set up so that you don't have to think about it, that something new doesn't happen to your brain, you go, because when you have that, that's when you start making bad or worse choices. So that's the thing which helps the best. On that, one of the things I certainly found with GLP-1 usage was that I didn't particularly want to eat that much. So the thing that really helped was like strong flavors, especially strong savory flavors. That I found to be really, really useful. Number 8. What you need is a set time to review how things have gone. You literally need to put this in your diary and say, at this particular time, I am going to look at how my eating went. I'm going to look at how my exercise compliance went. I'm going to look at how I actually feel. Setting aside 5 minutes to just do this. Again, whether you have a buddy that you work through this, or whether you do it through a journal or just on your phone, whatever, but you need to have that set aside so you give yourself some time to really think about what's happened, and that then gives you the opportunity to plan ahead. Guaranteed, however things went at one point, that will change and things will be different when you get to another point. I've worked with a lot of people like, no, everything's fine, I'll still stay completely the same, everything will be great. You plateau with your fat loss, you find that actually you're starting to feel worse. All of these things will happen at some point, and you need to have a plan. And whatever it is that you've had in the past that was working, you need to think, okay, what can we learn from that? When something's not working well, you just think, okay, what 1 or 2 choices can I change? Can I make those different decisions to see how I'm then going to be affected? And whether they work or they don't, we don't know until you get down there. And ideally, you probably only make 1 or 2 changes. And when you've made those changes, you can see how effective have they been in bringing something different to you. So there we have it. We have the 8 different things that you could be doing. I hope that helps you. It certainly has been an awful lot of fun for me dragging up the things from the past and seeing what worked or what didn't. I will be doing a little bit more of this. Please let me know your questions, how you feel about stuff, or what you think of my terrible hair, whatever it is, in the comments, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye-bye.